What makes a successful property investor? Is there a magic formula? Well, I'm sorry to disappoint, there's no magic when it comes to being successful in property. However, there are some habits that you can follow, and I want to share with you my 5 favorite habits to help you get massive success in property investing. If you're watching my video for the first time, my name is Hussain, and on this channel we have 3 videos a week to ultimately help you get further faster in your property investing journey. When it comes to success habits, what are the key ones? So let's look at success habit number 1, and that is to treat property investing like a business. What do you mean like a business? It is a business. Well, many people think about it as a hobby, as a sideline hustle, but don't really treat it as a proper business. When you think about a business, you've got to be generating leads, then those leads need to be converted, negotiated. You are then going to be able to deliver on whatever you need to do. You have some finance support, and you might have other people helping you as well. So what is that? Well, you've got sales and marketing as a function, you've got operations as a function, you've got finance, and you've got HR or people. So when you think about it like that, it is a business you're running. But ultimately what you should be doing is taking it a step further and applying this to each strategy that you might be running, or even down to project level. So for example, if you're looking for properties to purchase or renovate, add value and sell on and flip on, for example, then your sales and marketing effort would be around generating the leads first of all. So how do you find those leads? Well, you could be going out direct to vendor, so you're doing some proactive marketing, looking for those particular properties. For example, you might spot a tired property and you might think put a letter to the door box, to the letterbox even, so that you can speak to maybe the owner, have a conversation with them. It may be you're doing more reactive marketing where you are looking for certain types of opportunities that might pop up on Rightmove, Zoopla, auction websites, etc., etc. But it's all marketing and lead generation. Now, once you've identified those leads, you've got to be able to speak to the people involved, be able to book some time in to maybe do the viewing. So this is your sales process, and maybe even negotiate the deal, all part of the sales. So you're generating the leads, you're using your sales skills to be able to convert that lead, and then also you'll be using your operations side of the business to analyze the numbers, do the due diligence on it. See, does it work? Does it even stack as a deal? And then you are putting an offer in, hopefully the offer gets accepted. You then now need to deliver on that. You've got to get your people together to be able to do the work on it. You need to think about who is it you need. You might need the architect, you might need builders, you might need external funding. Is your finance department effectively looking at these things? So when you think about it this way, it is businesses that we are running, but we don't often see property as a business, and it's applying all these functions to whichever strategy you're using. You'll be the CEO at the top of the business, and you might be thinking right now, but I don't have all these departments, I don't have 50 people working for me, how is that going to work? But when you think about it in this way, you break it down to the individual functions, you may be the only person fulfilling all those functions, but as you grow and as you start to scale that business, what it means is that you can start bringing the right people in to fulfill those functions. And if you're interested in scaling a business, make sure you look out for the video I've done. We'll put a link in the description below. Success habit number 2 is being goal orientated. What do I mean by being goal orientated? It's thinking about where ultimately you want to get to. So right now you're here, you're thinking I want to grow your property business, or you want to get started in property, and your goal is to get over here, which may look like a certain number of properties, a certain level of income, building up a pension pot, whatever it might be. You've got a goal here that you're aiming for. However, many people don't think about clearly what it is that they're trying to do. So what is it that they follow in terms of a route? How do they get there? So if you jump into your Uber and say, driver, just go, he's probably going to turn around to you and say, where do you want to go? You need to explain clearly where you want to get to. So then if you give them a destination, they might just start driving, they start chatting with you, they might take the scenic route, and eventually you might make it there. However, if you want to get there the quickest and the fastest way to do that, you're going to plot a route which is going to help you to do that. So you find a route, and if you had a sat nav, for example, you put the destination, you find the shortest and the quickest way to get you from here to here. And that's exactly what we're trying to do with property investing. We think about where we are, ultimately where we want to try and get to, which is going to be the right route to take us there, the right strategy that we need to use to be able to do that. And we plot the goals that we need to do, and also the milestones that we need to achieve. And sometimes people think about this like a business plan. You write it out once, and then you put it in the drawer and forget about it. No, your goal should be visible, something you're looking at on a daily basis. What is it you're working towards? What is it you're trying to achieve? And those goals need to be broken down. And you can use many tools. For example, SMART is a great way of doing this. Something you can Google and look up how to do SMART goals. So you're thinking about how is it that you can have goals that are measured, that are timely, that you're aiming towards to deliver. So how do we break this down further when it comes to property investing? Well, think about what's your daily activities. What is it you're doing each and every day that might be moving you towards those goals and objectives? Now, I'm a big fan of hard work and grafting and getting there until it's done. And the Gary Vee style of hustle, hustle, hustle. Yeah, I get all that. But also we need to take a smart approach in terms of what we're doing. So it's not just working harder, but it's working smarter as well in terms of the approach. And how do we do that? Well, when you hustle, you're just going. I've been through this. I'm talking about experience. Well, you put your head down and you just keep going and keep going and keep going. And sometimes it feels like you're doing all the right things, but you're just not quite getting that right result. And it can feel like you're bashing your head against a brick wall and hey, there's no progress. You can't push forward and you're not moving forward. And that's because we're doing the same thing again and again, but we expect a different outcome, a different result. But that's the sign of insanity, right? Because we expect this, we're doing the same thing, but we expect a different outcome. So what we sometimes fail to do is to pause, to stop, to take a step back, to breathe and think, okay, so where have I got to? Reflect on what's happened and think, what do I need to maybe change very slightly to improve what we're doing so we can go again and you can get down and you can hustle again. But the reviewing is so important. Otherwise, if you think about a plane, for example, it plots a direction, it puts a direction in terms of where it's going, the pilot heads up in that direction. Now, let's say it goes up 1 degree very slightly. If you can imagine the destination, let's say it's traveling to the other side of the world, to Australia, for instance, and if it went off course 1 degree right from the offset, it would probably eventually arrive somewhere other than Australia because it'll just veer off course. And this is what we can end up doing quite easily when we're just focusing and we hustle, but not taking time to pause and review what we're doing, thinking about, are the marketing we're doing, is that working? Is that generating the leads? Is the conversation with the sellers turning into effective transactions? Are we doing the work in the right way? Are we working with the right builders? Is it producing the right result for us? Just reflecting and reviewing means you improve the chances of staying on track and eventually achieving those goals. Success habit number 3 is being productive. By being productive, we're getting the right things done that's moving you forward. Now, sometimes people think this about being motivated. Are you motivated to do more, get stuff done? Are you energized? It can be, but I believe if you're inspired to do things, then the motivation comes. So what's the difference between the two? Well, motivation is really when you get out of bed and you try and get that energy going so you can get motivated enough to get something done. But actually, when you're inspired, and inspiration comes from a bigger purpose of why you're actually trying to do this. And if it's a case of you're just trying to maybe make a few more pounds each month, that means you can save up and maybe go on a nicer holiday that year. Yes, that can be motivating, but it's not really a strong enough and powerful enough reason. When you've got a fire in your belly or sometimes a fire under your ass that you really must do things and you need to get them done, then all of a sudden the reason for doing things changes. So when you're inspired because you've got a bigger purpose or something you're trying to achieve and something you're trying to make happen, and that keeps you motivated and keeps you on track. So when we're being productive, how do we be productive? This can relate to what we were talking about earlier on, where you just hustle, work hard. But no, it's thinking about not just spending all the time working in the business. You've got to take time out to work on the business, where you take a helicopter view, a more strategic approach, or where is it ultimately you're trying to get to and what is it that you're doing. So then you can break down how you spend your time and what is it that you're doing with the time that you have. So when we talk about being productive, and you need to look at what's most important right now, what's going to get you close to that goal. So let's say you're looking for deals let's say you're looking for rent-to-rent deals, and that's the business model that you're working on. As we talked about earlier, you're going to have different sections of that business. The first part is getting those leads in. Yeah, and then it's negotiating those leads, it's analyzing the numbers, it's making sure it can work, then you've actually got to implement them. There's various stages of various things that need to be done. And sometimes what happens is we find the things that we enjoy doing and we like doing, and we tend to do more of that. But that's at the expense of not doing some of the other things that sometimes can also be important. So for example, it might be you love the people side of the business, speaking to the agents, speaking to owners, speaking to tenants. But actually when it comes to the administrative side or the contracts or accounting, that's something that just really doesn't get the attention. Now, these things can be important. So it's thinking about what is it you need to do, when you need to do it, in order to make sure that you stay on track and each of these things are moving you towards your goal. You might be thinking, it's okay, Saj, you banging on about being productive and getting more stuff done and working harder and working smarter. But sometimes, you can just have a tired day and you've got so much going on. You just haven't got the energy to be able to pick yourself up and do some of the things that you really know you need to do in order to move forward. And if you're not doing those things, that isn't moving you forward. So, is there a time you can find energy when it doesn't exist? Well, if you think about a situation, for example, let's say you've got absolutely no energy, you're drained, you're knackered, you've had a tough day, you get home, unfortunately, you see a disaster. The house is on fire. You've got loved ones inside that house. You need to jump in, you need to save them and get them out of that fire. Are you going to find the energy to do that? Now, God forbid that situation would ever happen, but can you see how there's a shift in terms of all of a sudden the need to be able to get something done? And this is the difference. We don't prioritize what's important. So when we say, oh, I can't do this right now, I'm too tired, because the need or the priority isn't there. And this is where, if you are inspired, you have a bigger purpose, then you find the energy to get these things done because it's so important for you to be able to achieve these goals. Success habit number 4 is leverage, and it's understanding how you can use leverage to really grow your property business. And there's 3 key things we want to leverage. And we want to be able to leverage time, we want to be able to leverage money, and we want to leverage other people as well. So let's look at those individually. When it comes to time, I have 24 hours in the day, you have 24 hours in the day. The most successful people in the world only have the same 24 hours in a day. We're all blessed with the same time. However, it's how we use that time that's important. What do we do with that time? Look, the reality is we don't know how long we're here. Every minute is precious and we should be utilizing it in the best possible way we can. We should be using that for what is it that we want to do, whether it's spending time with family and the business, the growth. There needs to be a balance with all these things. But sometimes, we don't prioritize these things. And when we're talking about the habits that we talked about earlier on, when you combine that with all these things, what happens is we can start thinking about how to use that time in a really efficient and effective way. So for example, I tend to be very productive early in the morning. I'm a very early riser and I get a lot done fairly in the morning. I get on with my emails and stuff and get the messages and stuff done first thing in the morning. And generally, I'll do those things once in a day. Now, sometimes people think, no, I've got messages, I've got notifications coming. And I'd say, look, if you're responding to your inbox, essentially what you're doing is responding to other people's priorities. They're running your diary, they're deciding what they want and they need. And if you think about your messages and your emails, effectively it's what it is. It's a call upon your time, a decision from you. They need something from you. And so when you're doing this, you need to be thinking about when you're planning to do this. And also this applies not just to every hour of the day, but also the days of the week, what you're doing when. So for instance, on Mondays, I tend to use that for mentoring. I'm supporting my mentees. On Tuesday, we'll do filming and video production. And the rest of the week will pan out for different things. For example, it might be looking at deals. It might be working with investors on projects. But what it means is the day is broken up into different things. It also means for my mind in terms of creativity and change, I'm not doing the same monotonous thing all the time. It means I'm getting a bit of change in the day. So think about time, how you use your time at the moment. And if you only had a very limited amount of time, what's the most important things that you need to get done? It's your time is valuable and it's recognizing the value of that time. So focusing on the single most important and most effective things is what you should be spending your time on. Sometimes you'll find people will suffer from overwhelm and stress, and really these are signs of being able to not manage time effectively because you feel you've been pulled in all different directions and you need to get things done and you're not quite sure what you need to do first, and you've got this huge to-do list and you think, where do I start? And it just becomes all overwhelming. What I would say in that situation is to think about what's the one single thing that if you got done would move you closer to your goals. And if we think about it in that way, it means a huge list is not going to be so overwhelming. You think about the priority and think about isolating your time. So for example, there might be a time where you don't take any calls, you don't want to be disturbed. You can focus on being productive and get things done. Because sometimes when we try and be productive and we use that time that we've got, we might be picking up a task and we're starting to work through it, and then we get a phone call, we're dealing with that, and then we're responding to an email, and then we get back into the task that we're doing. And by that time, you've had downtime, you've got to refocus on what you're doing. It's not really productive and good use that time. So by blocking the time out, getting things done in those allocated times, what it means is you'll be much more effective in that time. Then we now need to think about how can we leverage other people. So how do you leverage other people? What's that even mean? Well, it means how can you get other people to help you get the things that you've done. So for example, if you're purchasing a property right now and you need to go through the conveyancing process, the reality is you can actually do that conveyance yourself. You don't even need a solicitor to get this done. You could do that yourself. But why would you? You use an expert, somebody who's got those skills, you pay them a certain amount of money for what value that they're bringing to you, and it means they get that done. It's the same principle. It's surrounding yourself with the smartest possible people you can to help you grow and build a business. Yes, there's all things you can do. I remember one of my mentors explaining this to me after a property that we'd just acquired, and I was telling him that we've got the property, we're picking up the keys at the weekend, and we're going to be painting next week. And he said, hang on a minute. You're going to be spending next week painting that property. And I said, yeah, we're going to be in there, we're going to be painting, get it ready, then we'll get the furniture in and we should be able to get the tenants in quite soon. He says, hang on, don't you think it'd be a better use of your time if you paid somebody else to paint the property and you use that week to be able to get some other deals done and be able to move forward in the property journey? I said, yeah, but actually we haven't got the money to do that. But now when you think about it, what happens is often people with this kind of poor mindset, what they'll do, they'll spend time to save money. When you have more of a rich mindset, what you're doing, you're spending money to save time. Although at that moment in time I was thinking, oh, I don't have the money to do this. But the reality is I was sourcing plenty of deals. It was very easy for me to spend a week getting another deal done and make more money from that week where I could pay the decorator and earn some money rather than spend the week decorating. So think about how can you use leverage to help you build a team of other people. Some people call it a power team. Surrounding yourself with the smartest possible people to help you. And, my mentor made a big difference to me at that time. It helped me really focus and progress my property journey. And the people that surround you, your peers, your mentors, people that guide you, will make a huge difference to you and be able to get much more done. The third and final part of leverage that's really helped me be able to scale and build my business is leveraging money. So how do you leverage money? Well, let me tell you how money works. When you go and put your money in the bank then lend that money out to somebody else. And what they effectively do is to make money on that money that's sitting there, and they pay you a little bit of interest. Well, that's what most people think happens. The reality is what happens is when you park your money in the bank, in your savings account, the bank lend multiples of that money out that doesn't really exist. They lend more money out than they actually hold. And this is how banking works. And that is what leverage is. So when we're talking about leverage in this context of money, we're talking about how can we use other people's money. And one form of leverage is mortgages. We all understand that. And I have a video on buy-to-let mortgages, which will link below as well for you to have a look at. But also leveraging other people's money, being attractive for investment so people want to work with you. This is leveraging money of other people. Even if you've got your own funds, when it comes to property investing, it doesn't matter how much money you've got. Once you get the bug of getting into property and buying property, you will run out of money just like that. So it's think about how can you keep growing and scaling what you want to do and leveraging other people's money. Again, we've got a video specifically on this, and we'll link that below also in the description as well for you to watch. Before we get into the fifth and final success habit, if you're enjoying this content, then make sure you smash that like button and also subscribe to the channel and enable the notification bell so you get notified when we're releasing videos just like this. So the fifth success habit is what I believe is the single most important one, is personal development, the development of yourself and how you grow and improve as a person. And many times I speak to people and say, yeah, I finished my education once I'd left school or I'd left university. And I said, really? I said, well, I learned so much from school and university. In fact, I went back to university twice and I did 2 degrees. And yes, they were helpful, but I don't believe they're helping me the way other development and growth that I'm doing today is helping me. What I mean by that is every day I'm learning to improve what I'm doing, and I'm competing to be better than who? I'm competing to be better than the person I am today. Every day I want to be better than the person I was yesterday. So you're constantly improving, learning, growing, and this is how it keeps me creative. It means I can think about how we can apply different things in the business, how we can grow and how we can move forward, how we can be energized, and also being inspired and remembering why we're doing this and how we want to make a difference to the people in property investing. There are many different ways we can learn and improve and grow. So for example, it might be you like to do reading, so you're reading books. It may be it's audible, that you're listening to books, or it may even be YouTube videos just like this. I'm sure you're learning lots through this. Hopefully you are. If you are, make sure you subscribe to the channel so you're getting more of this. But the single most favorite one for me has been having mentors, people that have already achieved the things that I want to achieve to help me shorten my journey, avoid those mistakes and get results much faster. And I seek out the best possible people I can to help me. And the same way that if you want help and if I can help you with your property investing journey, I have a mentoring program that I can assist you with. Just reach out and we'll see if we can possibly help. So remember, if you're enjoying this, subscribe to the channel and let me know in the comment section below what's the one key learning you've had from this video, and I look forward to seeing you again on the next one.